Welcome back. It is 1670, if you can believe it. We have our little household right here with the two twins being raised by Lydia and Obadiah, who had their first child last time. We have Josiah and Delilah doing their relationship thing. Weedamoo has just died. Nathaniel's brought in another mistress. Edmund has become Sadie's baby daddy in order to, give his father a baby from her. Temperance is teaching her kids magic. So many things are going on right now that are all very exciting. So let's do our rolls. So we have Deborah Hobart, now 12, 16, or 18. Survives. Winona, Thanks, and Thomas are all becoming young adults. No 3, 9, or 20 for any of them. That was close. That was less close. That was even less close. And then Abraham Larkin is dying this year. We haven't seen him in a very long time, but he is passing away. It is 1670. Let's see, we have an adult. I added adult part 2 also to here because we're doing roles now for them. So Judith is actually doing her adult role, which would be 2, 6, 11, or 15. No way. Judith. Oh my gosh. Poor Chogan. His mom just died, his baby had died, his brother had died, and now his wife. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna figure out what to do about him. We have elder roles for Tom and Natalia. Just how many more years are they going to survive? We have a 14 and a 19. Wow, these people are never dying. Okay. I think that's it. Oh my goodness, Judith. Oh, Judith. Okay. Well, let's hop into the game. Okay, so we are going to start with Josiah, and him and Delilah are going to go out on a date, like an actual date at a restaurant. So that'll be nice. The two of them haven't done something like that really. And yeah, I think honestly, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite relationships right now. And the reason for that is because I just feel like we focus so much on like people falling in love, falling head over heels, it's passionate or it's a transaction. And this is kind of none of those things. It's very unique in that it's just two people finding this kind of like soft, comforting love with each other based on shared experiences. And I just really feel like that's special. And I am really happy for them. And I think that they deserve to be happy. I don't know if we should have them have any kids or anything. I'm really not sure, but I'm happy with the way that their relationship is going and the way that it's, the vibes are good, I guess, is my point here. So I'm really happy about that. And then we are going to just have them have their meals, and then actually I was thinking about doing this anyway, but Delilah is about to have a pop-up proposal for Josiah, and I think that we will say yes. We'll say yes. The two of them will already get married. Also, she wants to move in together, which is like, whoa, okay, we're doing a lot right now. But yeah, so they want to move in together and, kind of really solidify their choice to be together and to live, for the future together. So we're going to say yes to this pop-up. She has proposed and we are going to accept. And then we are going to, she wants to move in together. So I'm like, fine, that's fine. I know technically they're not supposed to, but I don't think it's really that big a deal. I don't think either of them really cares what anybody else thinks either. So that's what they're going to do. So now they are engaged, and we're going to get to gold here before we end the date. And then move on to the next household. So that is the first thing we're doing here, is the two of them and their relationship and their date and everything. And so it's about to end any second now before we move on to the next household. So now we are going to actually head over to the Smith household. Now, as you remember, Silence came to live with them last time, and Chenua knows what's up. Like, Silence has not played this game, but Chenua has. Chenua was able to get rid of Hope and everything. So Chenua is here, and she is going to make sure that Silence cannot be a threat to her, despite the fact that she, had. Um, she. Wow, I totally lost my train of thought there. um, anyway, so I think basically what I was trying to say is, Chenua realizes what place she has. She had a child with Nathaniel. It did not end up surviving to childhood, but she doesn't want Silence to come in and be able to, have babies and do all this stuff. And so she wants to make sure that Silence can't kind of usurp her position. And so she is going to give her something with a little something mixed into her drink, which is going to cause Silence to become infertile. So Silence will never be able to have any children. And Chenua, can keep trying with Nathaniel in order to have kids. And Silence won't ever be able to kind of solidify her position as anything more than a mistress because she cannot have any children, and all of that. So that is what's going on here is, Chenna is playing nice. She's acting like she's all sweet and welcoming, and Silence is just totally falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. And unfortunately for her, she will not be able to have any children in the future. So that's what's happened there. And so next, we are going to head over to the Dubois household. So here we go over here to play with Thomas, actually. So I'm just gonna, it rains like literally this whole video. I have to cheat the seasons because I'm so sick of the rain. It's so funny. I get all the packs and then I just like disable all of them. Anyway, so everyone, is having their church service and having a good time and stuff. And so Thomas is actually pretty good friends, or not good friends, like regular friends, not good friends, with Charity. So the two of them are friends. And so he has a big crush on her, Charity Anderson. And he, feels like he's exactly the type of guy that, she could go for and that her parents would approve of and everything. He is, even though his father, spectacularly got banished, um, maybe he's not as good as he thinks he is. But yeah, so he is friends with her and they actually become friends really quick. And he has a big crush on her, but she does not see him that way. She doesn't see him that way, and she is friendly and nice and everybody likes her, but he is just totally taking it the wrong way. And like he kind of turns to like, oh, like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if you and I got married or something? And she's just like, oh yeah, like that would ever happen, like, we're just friends. Like she's friend zoning him basically. He's totally friend zoned by Charity. There is no no ability to get her to really, take him seriously. She is being really sheltered by her family after everything that happened with Sadie. And so she honestly isn't even thinking about who she should marry. She kind of just, is under the assumption that they'll choose for her. And so she friend zones him, but he is really upset about that, right? Like he's like, oh, I wish that Charity could just see how great I am for her and like how great we could be together. And he definitely has this idealized vision of her, which is not the case. And so he is like, well, actually, there could be a way to make her see. And he has been learning magic from his mother along with his sister. They've been learning magic over the course of, the past couple of years. And so they are learning that. And he decides that he is going to make a potion to kind of open her eyes, if you will, in order to have her see him for the way that he wants her to see him, which of course is a love potion. And obviously that is highly unethical and definitely not something that he should be doing, but that's what he wants. He really wants um, to be with her, and he thinks that, she is mean for, not seeing him as a romantic partner, and he doesn't like being friend zoned, and so he is going to make this potion and is planning on using it on her in probably in the next year or so. So next, we are going to head over to Chogan. So Chogan, as we know, has kind of been on this mission of reconciliation with his son and with his, family, and he, lost his wife as well. So, he really has kind of found a new outlook on things with all of this trauma and sadness that he's been experiencing. And so he decides that what he's going to do is actually go to the Walddrics and ask them to kind of rejoin. So if you remember when Dakota wanted to leave, he was kind of like, fine, go and don't come back. You're separating from us. You want to be different. You want to be away from everyone. Fine. You're not part of our community anymore. And so now, in the spirit of reconciliation, Chokun's kind of like, before I die, because he is an elder, he's like, before I die, I want to reconcile these two families and kind of bring the Walddrics back into um, into the fold. He wants them to come and be back and be part of their social network again. But of course, Dakota is dead, and he feels very sorry that Dakota died before all of this happened, and so do I, because I was planning on Dakota being there. But that's okay, because Poman is the eldest, and he will be speaking for their family. And basically, Chogan is going to come talk to him and be like, look, I think that, you've been isolated for too long, and that's not fair. That's not fair to you. And I know that that you deserve better and that your family deserves better. Oh, also, while we're here, we have Sadie having her baby that she's having with Edmund technically, and hiding it as Elias, or not Elias, Elliot's baby. And we're going to name her Deliverance. So she survives, and there she is. But yes, so Chogan is basically, here to reconcile the families. And I don't know exactly what he'd say, but he'd say something very compelling. Maybe he'd talk about his regrets, about things he wishes he did differently, and about all that stuff where he thinks that it would be better if everybody was together again. And so Poma needs to decide what he thinks that means for them, and what he thinks that could be for their situation. So Chogan is then going to come back. He's invited the Walddrics to come over and kind of see how things are in order to help persuade Poman. So they are all going to come over and, come and chit chat, even though it's still raining, but, come and hang out and see how each other are living, and see if they would like to make this happen. Pullman is obviously wary because, he grew up with his father telling him that Chogan was not going to accept them and everything. But now that Chogan is here, the Walddrics have felt sad about being isolated for so long. It's been tough for them. And so they might feel inclined to join because they feel like, this is their chance to kind of not be alone on that island anymore. So we also have Melly visiting here. You can see she's in different clothes. And she has been struggling a lot with the pressure from her husband and from Muriel to, be Puritan. And so coming home and being able to spend time with her family is something that's really kind of keeping her sane, I guess, like keeping her from, spiraling because of all of this pressure. And so she is here with her family, and so she actually comes during this whole thing and, makes the case for unification because she herself, is kind of part of two worlds now. And so she's going to talk a bit to Canon Chet there, who's across the table from her a little bit, because he was kind of like, oh, like, why are you wearing those clothes? Like, what's going on? And so she's going to kind of explain to him that, she's married to a Puritan, and that she is, but she's still really close to her family, and she loves them very much, and that, her father has definitely proved himself to her and to her brother over her marriage, and, shown that he is willing to see a different side of things, and so they should really consider it. Also, what we have here is Hope also should have been in this club, but I forgot to add her. So, but she's in this club now, and then we have Chogan himself kind of talking to Hope, who he's trying to make feel welcome. Obviously, she is having trouble adjusting to her new situation. And so he is going to be nice to her because he wants everyone to get along and wants everyone to, he wants people to think that he's, you know, changed, which he has. He has changed, but like, he wants to make sure that everyone is comfortable. And so because of that, he's going to start talking to Hope, and he kind of thinks back on Priscilla, who had come here and had such a difficult time and all of that. And so he kind of sees that situation as similar, even though obviously Hope is kind of in a situation of her own making, even though, I mean, Nathaniel is really the problem there. Like, no amount of rudeness or meanness towards the mistress it would make Hope be anything but the victim in that situation. Yeah, she does not deserve to be kicked out of her house and divorced because of that. But Chogan just sees that bad situation where she was kind of kicked out by her husband, and this Priscilla was too, and so he feels guilty about that, and he wants to help. So over here in the Walddri household, where they had just come home from all of that. So I'm going to change the weather because I can't take it. But hold on, dog crying. Okay, so what we have here is we are actually going to pull in some Sims. So as we know, Pullman had kind of fallen for Ruth at first sight, and they've been exchanging letters and thinking about each other and everything. And so he actually invited her to come visit again. And so because of that, she does come back to visit, although he does have her brother escorts her, because obviously her brother's like, wait, you can't just go by yourself. You can't just like go off by yourself. So her brother escorts her, and so Pullman is, introducing Ruth to his mother and everything. And I think Rebecca really actually likes having someone around who kind of can understand her old life. Rebecca used to live around the same area that the Hobards live in, and so she's been isolated along with her family for so long, and she doesn't regret that, because she's glad that her and her husband could, live that life. But she does, it's nice to talk to someone who kind of understands, because her kids will never know that life and can't relate. Meanwhile, Caleb also starts talking to Winona. You know, there he needs to socialize too. Well, he's here, but he does see her, and he's like, "Hey, like, looking good." So the two of them are chit-chatting a little bit, and so now we are going to head over to the other Walddri household, because Sadie had her daughter. And so Sadie and Edmund need to have a conversation, because the whole plan was for Sadie and Edmund to have a baby so that Elliot doesn't bother her about not giving him children. Now they had a daughter, so Sadie is like, "But I need a son. We need a son. Like, I need to give him a son." And so Edmund is like, "Yeah, cool. Like, he does not mind. This guy will woohoo anyone, and he loves it." But, Sadie is kind of trying really hard to, not catch feelings here. She knows what Edmund's about. She knows he's not really going to love her or anything. And so she's just struggling because he's the only person that's like on her side. So she is definitely struggling to not catch feelings for him. And also, um, what's it called? Oh, it looks like Winona got a crush on Caleb. But yeah, so I thought that Elliot caught them for a second there, but I checked his things and it doesn't say that he was jealous or anything or he has a flirty spouse. So I guess they're in the clear so far. That was really close. But now we are going to head to our main household and um, wait for the baby to be born. So it should be born any second now. And the kids are starting to, be included in the chores and stuff. They are starting to become a part of that. They're old enough to start working the farm a little bit here. And it's not really a farm, it's just some chickens and some plants, but um, that'll be good. And then, yeah, so we're about to have our second baby and we are going to do some birthdays while we're waiting. So the birthdays for this year are Deborah Hobart becoming an infant, Winona Walddri becoming a young adult, Thanks Hobart becoming a young adult, Thomas Dubois becoming a young adult, Abraham Larkin passing away, Judith Yazzie passing away, and Deliverance Waldrick being born and becoming an infant. So that is the birthdays. I like messed up trying to get pictures of everybody and then I had to go back out and get more pictures and I messed that up. But anyway, so the baby does end up being born this year. It's really not that interesting. The baby does end up being born and she does survive. So we named her Dorothy to go with Deborah and Dorothy. So the two little girls, and that is what's so far in our family. And so, yeah, we are moving forward with this. I am excited to keep going on some of these stories. We're just getting started on quite a few stories, about these kids who are now becoming young adults and becoming teenagers, and they're starting to look for spouses and stuff. So we have a few marriages that are going to start forming, or a few relationships that are going to start, coming, building, and then we are going to see them come to fruition. So we also have Thomas here who is about to make a big mistake. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this part, and I'll catch you in the next one.